Mana kola litizini kivonya la meromwe ya. Onya la tiaka ya weba uno yoko. No go kochi. Oluzie kutu milibialo. Owe fuzie di fomelo onwe ya. Ya bunu onye jebeli jeru kuno. Una makakwa. Maka na ife ọmọbụ n'ime elu onye igwe ya bụ basiko ọnaba na bei mata na ọ ya bọrịlị gị ike nkwa Mbaji na kalizi nilu noku nenu wano unanugon Umu Biafra ndio make kwa mundi nonu Anyi buru nibu, anyi jolo wanine Anyi balova Manonya nekele di lozinu mibontunu Okwanya nuka nekuzinu Onye ya na nwanne ya maka na nwanne bụkwa nnọọ nke Chukwu ji gozie nụ mmadụ
Kajikọta ka dozie obodo anyị 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 Kajikọta ka dozie obodo anyị
Good evening, fellow Biafrans, men and women of goodwill and of good conscience. This is Radio Biafra representation on this evening of the 23rd of May 2020. We are live from London and reaching you wherever you are on this planet Earth, from east to west, from north to south, from the upland and for the coastal regions of Biafra land. We are, as always, doing whatever we are doing in the name of the Most High God, Chukwu Okike, the big masquerade, the I am that I am, the omnipresent, the omnipotent, the mighty one in battle. We will not, as always, forget to invite him to come and be on the driving seat and indeed to drive home these audacious quests for restoration of Biafra eventually, and to draw every heart, every man, every woman to this gospel this evening, that we shall exchange ideas and, of course, advise ourselves, enlighten ourselves, educate ourselves where necessary, and to go away with every amount of confidence that God's willing, and as soon as divine providence permits, Biafra shall be restored in our lifetime. We ask you, the Most High God, Chukwokike, to go before us, to go beside us, to go behind us, to continue to cover every IPOB family member, every dedicated Biafran, every friend of Biafra, wherever they are residing, whatever they are doing at this particular point in time, anywhere around the globe, with our presence, with our protection, and to continue to incapacitate our enemies and render them impotent and powerless before us. You shall level the potholes that they have dug for us, and may those potholes become graveyards for all of them. You shall continue to set their camps into confusion and on fire, and they shall continue to go from one calamity to the other, spiritually and physically, until total liberation, total emancipation of the land of Biafra is achieved. We shall be partakers of this all-important restoration effort, that we shall indeed look back with pride and with confidence and say, yes, that we were there when it all began. May this permanent and a reality in our life. We ask you, the Most High God, that the rest of humanity will continue to see your blessings upon our lives and continue to glorify your holy name. To this we say amen and amen and amen. He say, my name is Uche Mefor. I am from Abatete. Abatete is in Idemili, Idemili is in Omambra. Omambra is in Biafra land. I am here as always for us to exchange ideas and for us to, of course, be aware of important issues before us. And for us, at the same time, to concentrate on things that matter and not on things that distract our attention. At the end of the day, if Biafra restoration project is finalized and consummated, it will be to our own advantage. If it doesn't go well, it will be to our own detriment. The question we must continue to ask ourselves is, what are our individual roles in making sure that the Biafra Restoration Project is driven to its logical conclusion and that the original plan is implemented to the letter? What are we doing as members of IPOB? What have we done individually and collectively? We are, of course, very much active on Facebook, on Twitter, and other online media platforms, which is, of course, the most choicest of platforms in this modern age. And we should be proud of whom we are and what we have achieved so far. But with hindsight, we must also scrutinize what we are doing. How many of us on Facebook, for instance, have been able to be posting progressive, positive information regarding Biafra Restoration Project? How many of us have been in support of our leader, Mazu? How many of us have been defending what the enemies have been spewing out against him and against this ultimate restoration project? How many of us are genuinely doing the needful? How many of us are against our enemies indeed and in fact? How many of us have been at the forefront of letting our enemies that no matter how long this journey lasts, that victory shall be ours? How many of us have been helping IPOB and doing what is needful to, of course, exposing fake identities in our midst? I mean, those fake identities that are propagated by the Nigeria's Ministry of Information, headed by Lai Mohammed, and the Nigeria's most fraudulent security agency, illegal security agency called DSS, because it is never legally set up. What we know of is the State Security Service. DSS is illegal, and that is why they are doing what they are doing. You cannot hold them accountable. That is why they disobey court orders. That is why court will issue injunction and they will violate it with impunity. That is why they will go into law courts and arrest judges and violate the sanctity of that judicial sanctuary. And nothing happens. And unfortunately and sadly, the zoo called Nigeria is the only enclave around the world where such will be happening. And everybody is keeping quiet. It is also very saddening and unacceptable for somebody who said that he's the president of any country to, at a time of emergency, like the one we have in the zoo called Nigeria, where people are being massacred, where terrorists are everywhere, destroying lives and properties, where armed robbers are having free day, destroying lives and properties, extorting, stealing, maiming individuals and groups. Yeah, nobody is talking. And just like our leader Mazu Nnamdi Kanu has said, it is very obvious as we speak that nobody is in charge of governance in the contraption called Nigeria yet. You have professors, you have doctors, you have lawyers, you have captains of industries, you have community leaders, you have members of the academia in different shades and forms, but they are keeping quiet because they are afraid of what will happen to them. But as we speak now, everywhere is imploding. The zoo called Nigeria can no longer be the same because Nemesis is catching up with it. The spirit of innocent indigenous population destroyed and massacred in cold blood, and top of the list are Biafrans, are of course against that contraption called Nigeria. They are hounding day in, day out. They are hunting day in, day out that edifice. And as we can see, everybody must be ready for the all-important implosion that is going to come. It's going to be free for all if care is not taken. In Biafra land, our enemies have surrounded us. We all know it. Our leader, Mazu Nnamdi Kanu, has been saying this since 2014, 2015. Notable events that he attended and he made very audacious presentation was that of the World Igbo Congress in United States of America, where he called their attention of the impending danger by the Hausa Fulani Islamic fundamentalists and those from all over West Africa. He requested for our people to assist in making sure that they defend our fatherland, the land of Biafra. And they called him all manner of names. They said all manner of things against him. And within 24 hours, they posted that video on YouTube and started to work actively with the zoo authorities, make sure that our leader Mazu Nnamdi Kanu was arrested. And indeed, he was arrested. He was taken into custody. And he stayed there for almost 2 years. A number of us were witnesses of what happened during that period. A number of charlatans thought that they can actually take over and destroy IPOB, so that when Mazu Nnamdi Kanu comes out, he will be cap in hand and begging those wicked souls. And with the help of very reliable, like-minded people, these people were fought to a standstill. And I must have to say that the remnants of them are still there in IPOB, hiding in different places. The only way you can know them is when certain things is done and it's not in their favor, they'll begin to rear their ugly heads. But we are, of course, very focused. We are several steps ahead of them, and it is our responsibility individually and collectively to make sure that the heart of this project is guarded jealously and defended proudly. I am in. How about you? It is also very important for us to recognize that times are different, and that now all those people who have been against Mazu Nnamdi Kanu, against IPOB, against everything we stood for, are now crying. They are now calling one another that now is the time for everyone to do something. Is that not wickedness? Is that not the character of those, or is that not the characteristics of people who are, if care is not taken, I must say, perpetually condemned to damnation? But because IPOB is on the scene, we are not going to allow our people to be destroyed. World Igbo Congress today is calling everybody, the leadership is calling everyone to begin to do something. At a time when our enemies are prepared and they are at the verge of implementation of their orchestrated attack, genocidal attack against our people. When our enemies are awake, working day in, day out, night in, night out, to make sure that they enslave us and destroy us, World Igbo Congress and the likes of them are still hallucinating. But we thank God that IPOB is on the scene, for we have been very much awake. And we encourage each and every one of us to continue to do the needful. Why is it that IPOB is hated everywhere? IPOB is hated because we are frontal and without reservation saying the truth wherever it matters. If you want to make any progress, if you want to make any inroad, if you want to emancipate yourself, especially in situations and circumstances of slavery like the one we have in the contraption called Nigeria, you must not listen to anyone. You must at all times be more concerned about your survival. Self-preservation is the most important instinct that everyone must always run to in times like this. Our people are very much at alert. A number of us are panicking, but it is also very important that we remind you that you shouldn't panic, but be at alert, but be awake. Do not sleep. Our vigilante groups in different communities in Biafra land must not sleep. They must join hands with what IPOB is doing to safeguard our communities, to safeguard our towns and villages. It is not everything that we will come out to tell you in the open. And that brings us to the point that we want to emphasize even more. There are some people who are using fake Facebook accounts, who are using fake names. These are people being bankrolled by the members of the DSS in the zoo called Nigeria and some politicians to try to castigate and cast aspersion on what IPOB is doing. You must be at alert to identifying these people and exposing them for what and who they are. They are always very frontal. They are even at the point of making policy pronouncements for IPOB. And we want to remind our people that if you do not hear anything on IPOB designated platforms and our revered institution, Directorate of State, headed by the head of Directorate of State, Mazu Chike Dozim, if you do not hear anything from any of our designated principal officers at the DSS and in different countries, if you do not hear anything from our leader, if you do not hear anything from our media and publicity secretary, Emma Powerful, if you don't hear anything from me, then you must not take any information you are being given seriously. That is for those who are always panicky, those who are always carried away by some captivating headlines being propagated by our enemies. Before you take any news item seriously, especially as regards this Biafra Resolution project, especially as it regards IPOB, especially as it regards our leader, Mazu Kanu, you must have to verify it. If you do not verify it, you are running the risk of shaming yourself in the process and the final analysis. A lot of fake news are flying around, and 90% of them are not from our platform as they are making you to believe. A number of them have opened up Biafra Facebook accounts, IPOB Facebook accounts, or groups, I should say, and pages, and even cloning some principal officers. Our leader, Mazu Kanu's Facebook accounts are cloned several times. There are up to 5 different accounts, but the one that we must have to continue to advise you to go to is the one that has up to 400 and something thousand likes and followers. There are also fake Twitter handle being opened by some individuals and groups, all in a bid to destroy what we are doing, belonging to our leader, Mazu Kanu. You must be vigilant. His Twitter handle is Mazu Kanu. Anyone that says Nnamdi Kanu is not the real one. The one that is written Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is the real Twitter account. And of course, you can see how busy that Twitter handle is. And so we enjoin each and every one of us to be more than ever before active on social media platforms. This is where the battle for supremacy on anything at all is fought, including this Biafra Restoration Project. The battle for information supremacy, information gathering and dissemination is fought and won on social media in this 21st century. But of course, we have our strategic planning, which nobody is entitled to access anyhow. And then down to other principal officers, there are people who are cloning accounts. Our people must be very, very careful about all this. Some of you will always come up to say, Uche, Mefor, you are counting what our leader is saying and all. But not everything is going to come out in the open. All we are asking our people is to be at alert, do not sleep. If possible, sleep during the day and be awake in the night, because our enemies have surrounded us. But do not also be afraid, because anything that comes into Biafra land in terms of weapons that they have come with to destroy us will not go back with them. Our people must be rest assured on that. Any alien consignment from the Fulani Janjaweed, from the Sahel, any alien occupant of Biafra land shall indeed destroy him or herself or themselves. The land of Biafra shall open up and swallow all of them at the appropriate time. We must not be worried about certain things that are happening at this particular point in time. Other than that, we must continue to do what we are doing. If our hands are clean, and if we are hardworking, if we are focused, if we are determined, there is nothing our enemies can do. This platform, this IPOB was built on the platform on the irreducible principle of truth, sincerity, and doggedness, and open-mindedness. That is why we are where we are today. The level of discipline that has gone into this gigantic project that you are seeing today is unimaginable. And we can only thank the Most High God for what He has done for us. Biafra is a spirit, and anybody that go out of his or her way or their way to try to put obstruction to this Biafra Restoration project, this dispensation of Biafra Restoration project, that person will be destroyed by his or her own or their own machination. Because men, women, and children have died because of this cause. They will try, but they will fail. The spirits of our gallant heroes and heroines and that of our brothers, even in this IPOB, massacred in cold blood and through the treacherous connivance of some wise but without wisdom politicians in Biafra land. We continue to haunt all of them. Their spirits will continue to hound all of them and their families until they fade away from the face of this planet Earth. And mark it that anybody that has opened his or her mouth, or anybody or group of people that are yet to open their mouth, people that have made pronouncements about Biafra not coming, anybody that have said that Biafra is dead and buried, anybody that has been against Biafra Restoration project, Biafra will outlive all of them. All the present crop of politicians in the zoo called Nigeria who have masterminded the killings, the maiming, the orchestrated violence against Biafrans, all of them will die before Biafra is restored. Biafra will outlive all of them. This month of May is a very important date in the lives of Biafrans, and we are preparing, as always, without any equivocation, for the Remembrance Day on 30th of May 2020. Our heroes and heroines who have paid the ultimate price must be given the honor that is due to them. We must remember them. We must indeed adhere to instructions from the High Command of IPOB. Our leader, Mazu, has hinted on what we need to do. Already people are at home to a great extent, but it's going to be a sit-at-home kind of, that will be done in a very unique manner, different from what we've been doing before. This week, the high point of this week will be started from 27th of this month, which is of course a date for fasting and prayer, until 29th evening, the eve of our Remembrance Day. And we enjoin every Biafran to be part of it. Our religious leaders are going to lead in these prayers, and they are going to, of course, come on air to pray with Biafrans all over the world. But that is not a replacement for our fasting and prayer. Everybody will have to commit to this. 30th of May is the D-Day, and we are doing Remembrance Day on 30th of May, not for any other thing, but because the day that we would have done it, which was the end of the orchestrated war of genocide against our people, 15th of January, was indeed the day that our suffering started. Because what happened on that day was that the zoo called Nigeria actually intimidated a number of people from Biafra land. And they tricked them into believing that there is no victor and there is no vanquished. And that Biafrans are, of course, part and parcel of the progressive state they made us to believe called Nigeria. But having seen what has happened, it is not what they told us. What actually happened is that day, 15th of January 1970, was the day our slavery was even redoubled. Our suffering started on that day. What happened in between 1967 to 1970, up until that January 15th date, was nothing compared to what we have seen. We knew that we were in state of war. Our people were being killed. Our people were being maimed. Hunger and starvation everywhere. All manner of blockade against our people. We knew that we were in state of war. But now that they said that there is no victor, there is no vanquished, and our people, the Biafran leadership at that time, of course, believed them. What is going on since that time is a secret economic and political war against our people. Political disenfranchisement at all levels, economic emaciation. They are promulgating policies that are inimical to the progress of our economic progress or economic project. Everywhere you see people from Biafra land doing their business, they try to come up with all manner of negative economic policies to stop us. And we have been bearing the brunt. That is the worst war you can ever have in peacetime. We are marginalized on all fronts. And our own is deliberate. There is unofficial policy across board that the people of Biafra that fought the war against genocidal orgy of violence on them by the zoo called Nigeria are the problem of that contraption, and therefore they must be made to be irrelevant in the scheme of things. Farouk Adamu reminded us of what will happen to us, and they are effectively implementing it. Today, we are nowhere to be found, even when we have the manpower, we have the knowledge, we have the technology. We are not allowed to experiment. We are not allowed to aspire to the best of our abilities. And nobody is talking. The only people who are doing anything, talking, agitating against all this are the indigenous people of Biafra, led by our leader Mazu Nnamdi. Upon that, they are telling us to forget about what happened between 1967 and 1970. They are telling us that we are miscreants. They are telling us that we are charlatans. They are even calling us terrorists and killing and maiming us. And that is why some cowards among us are telling us to forget about this name Biafra. Forget about it. Let us go through another way. Let's go through the back door. When we get there, we tell them that we have arrived. But we said no, because this name Biafra reminds us of something. It is our identity. it is everything that has to do with us. It also reminds us of the cause, the freedom that our brothers and sisters who have gone to the world beyond fought. Biafra genocide is the only genocide all over the world where nobody has been held accountable. Is that possible? That there is a genocide orchestrated against millions of people, and actually millions of people were massacred, and then nobody is responsible for the death. Nobody is responsible for the massacre. Nobody is responsible for the starvation. And they tell us to join hands together and continue to move forward. And some people are telling us to forget about what happened and move on. Anybody telling you to forget about Biafra, to forget about agitation for Biafra, that person must be evil. And that is why our society will never know peace. Because we saw abomination and we are covering it. Because we saw evil and we are covering it. And such evil has grown wings and legs, and they have indeed lived among us as human beings. The greatest abomination we will commit against ourselves, against our own, is to forget the Remembrance Day of 30th of May that we have chosen to be the day to remember our fallen heroes. 30th of May 1967 was actually the day Biafra was declared, and we, of course, recognize that the war is not yet over. And instead of celebrating that the war is over on 15th of every year, 15th of November every year, we better remind ourselves that it is a dark day for us. It is the beginning of our slavery. It is the beginning of our suffering in the zoo called Nigeria. Therefore, the most sensible date for us to celebrate, or rather to remember the carnage, the genocide against us, is the day that war started. And that is what we are doing on 30th of May every year. Our leader, Mazu, with inspiration, was very much on point in, of course, coming up with that date. It has to be supported across board. And then there is a scamming going on as we speak. The 22nd of May is the Biafra Independence Day. Of course, some charlatans yesterday tried to cajole themselves, but we thank the Most High God that our people even know better than they knew yesterday. Mazu, or Beam, as they call themselves, we are remembering their anniversary when they hosted Biafran flag, and they are telling us that it is Biafra Independence Day. That is an abomination. That is an insult on the memories of our heroes and heroines that have paid the ultimate price that we may have our freedom. They are spitting on their graves for bringing up such devilish dates and telling us that it's Biafra Independence Day. It also shows you what is in the minds of these people that are telling you that the Biafra has come, where Biafra has not come. They have gone to print Biafra passports. You are all aware of it. Some of you fall prey to the trap. Some of you bought the fake Biafran passport. The man that told you that the Biafran passport is a passport, a legal traveling document, never traveled with Biafran passport. But some of you tried and you saw it. You saw what happened. They printed Biafra note, Biafra currency, and they tell you that it is being used all over West Africa. But you are now an eyewitness and you know better. All those things are not realistic. They are not real. It is a mega deception. It is a mega scam being propagated by the leadership of Mazu, as they call themselves. And recently they have told you that Biafra is now registered. United Nations are registered Biafra as the 46th member of the UNPO. When they say UN, whenever anybody hears about UN or sees it written, they will think that it is United Nations. It is not United Nations. So regarding nationhood at some point and using specific practical examples as it affects us. Very soon, but not today. Let no one scam you. Let no one deceive you. Let no one hoodwink you. An international NGO is not synonymous with United Nations agency or organ. UNPO is unrepresented nations and peoples organization. It is an NGO, just like IPOB is. When you begin to consider its legal entity, IPOB can today begin to say, oh, we want to form an association of countries or nations that are not yet independent. We want to form a coalition, kind of. UNPO is a coalition of people who are struggling to be independent, who are struggling for their freedom. So if you like what they are doing, you go and apply to them, and they will, of course, admit you on payment of subscription every year. And then they are registered with United Nations Economic and Social Council. This Economic and Social Council of United Nations has nothing to do with political status of any country. They have nothing to do with it. They deal with economic issues. And then within its department, they have a department called United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs. That is where NGOs register. And what do? They talk about Millennium Development Goal. They talk about sustainable development. They talk about inclusive participation in the political process of any country. They talk about women education. They talk about children or child education. They also talk about indigenous people's access to their own lands. And this has nothing to do with political process or political status of any country, let alone Biafra. More importantly, this department has nothing to do with United Nations General Assembly. That has to do or deal with states, independent nations, or those that have observer status yet to be admitted fully It has nothing to do. These are different departments. And so let nobody deceive you. For avoidance of doubt, let nobody deceive you. These are scammers. And that is not how we are going to get Biafra. We are going to say it time without numbers, and where necessary, emphasize and re-emphasize. There are other group of people that tell you that this name Biafra is causing problem. If anybody tells you that, begin to look into that person's history. Anybody that tells you to jettison Biafra, anybody that tells you to forget about Biafra, anybody that tells you to embrace the zoo called Nigeria, that person is not telling himself or herself the truth. It is either that person is making a lot of money with his or her association with the zoo called Nigeria, or that he is or she is an agent of the zoo called Nigeria against Biafrans, or that in a more simple way, the person is lazy and does not know whom he is or whom she is. We have several number of them, several examples of them, and our people must be very, very careful. We continue to emphasize and re-emphasize. We are in a very precarious situation. In the history of freedom fighting as it regards Biafra, with the exception of the war of 1967 to 1970, there is nobody, no group of people like IPOB. IPOB is Catholic in nature. There is nowhere you cannot see IPOB family members all over the world. Where you don't see them, know that there is no life there. More importantly, we are blessed that we are under the leadership of the most sagacious, the most ebullient, the most charismatic of them all in terms of leadership, in the person of Mazu Namdekam. And therefore it is our responsibility to give him every necessary support and to, of course, advise him accordingly. We must take it a responsibility upon our shoulders to do the needful. That if our leader Mazu Namdekam fails today, which will not happen, of course, then all of us will fail. If he succeeds today, all of us will succeed. That is why we must take anything that concerns us very seriously and guard it jealously. Very important. Fake news on our platforms must be fought to a standstill, because this is causing a lot of problem everywhere throughout the world. What is going on now is fake news, especially on the internet. And the zoo called Nigeria, having lost the battle, has spent the money that they stole from Biafra land and invested it, or rather reinvested it into fighting Biafrans. They have made everybody to be hungry. They have made everybody to be poor in the zoo called Nigeria, so that everybody is looking for a way of survival. And so when they dangle that option before you, it is only by the grace of God that you resist it. But we are several steps ahead of them, and it is our responsibility to stand firm at all times, that the heart of this project shall never see corruption. Very important, very important. The only compensation that we can give to our brothers and sisters who have paid the ultimate price is to make sure that what they have fought for is realized. To make sure that what they have fought for is realized. That is the ultimate goal. That is that we have before us. That is the ultimate goal. And by the grace of the Most High God, and by the grace of the Most High God, soon our divine providence permits, that will be a soon our divine providence permits, that will be a reality in our lifetime. Wherever you are in different parts of the world, wherever you are in different parts of the world, join Ipob family closest to you. Join Ipob family closest to you. To encourage, we have our coordinators in different countries to encourage the world, coordinate to make their names of the world, to make their names available, so that people will be able to contact them. There are so many people who are looking for Ipob families where they are going to join in different countries, but most of them are complaining that they can't get the contact of our coordinators. I don't know how true this is, but we are embarking on a very practical step to making sure that these issues are resolved. We are encouraging our principal officers, the coordinators in different countries, to make it a point of duty to be coming on air, to use their social media platforms to encourage people to contact them with a view to joining the families where they are. Very important. There are people who are very much worried that they are not able to reach our coordinators. The only thing you can do, very simple, is to make your contact number available, make public how people can reach you, so that we won't have any difficulties enlarging our family. Our enemies are crying. They are mourning over the progress that we are making. But it is not our fault, because this project was ordained by the Most High God right from the outset. We are not perfect because we are human beings, but we are determined to succeed, and that is what we have been doing, and that is why we are where we are today. This world that we are embarking on this journey through might seem convoluted, it might seem complex, but in the end, as long as we are tenacious, as long as we are focused, as long as we are resolute, as long as we keep our hands clean, victory shall be ours. This is Radio Biafra presentation on this evening of the 23rd of May 2020. May 2020. The most important date in these remaining days of May 2020 is 30th of May. Very important that our people commit themselves and observe this day. The Directorate of State, through our designated principal officers, will of course instruct our people on how to go. Very important that we make this year's remembrance event a one to be remembered. The number to call is +447405964146 +447405964146.
Your destiny go deliver, never change. Your destiny go delay, but it 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 never change. Your destiny go delay.
Right, come on the phone. Can you hear me? Good evening from here. Welcome to the program. Can you hear me? Is he there or not? No, I don't know what's going on here. Right, we have to come back. Right, can you hear me? Call on the phone.
Yes, Uncle Uche Mefor, may God bless you for picking my
God bless you. Welcome to the program.
Today. This is Swajai Miscreant Onyemuchechu. Mazu, I am calling you from the land of the brave and home of the free. It's an awesome day once again to all Biafrans. I remain resolute to you all because when I listen to myself and when I identify myself as an IPOP, I am so proud of the family and I'm so proud of every one of you out there, both the peaceful officers, both the lovers of freedom, but those of them who are also our enemy, because I will show you love. Until you repent, I won't resist from showing you love. Thank you so much for listening to us tonight. Sir, I came in at the moment when we were defining or trying to explain a particular date in our life, and the whole thing was just easy from this way, from the device I'm listening to. Then I said, okay, let me ask, what actually did they say that happened on the 15th January 1970? Was it any kind of...
They said that the war ended on January 15th, 1970. And as such, it is an anniversary of end of the war. And we are saying no, that we do not agree with it. Anybody telling us to celebrate that day is an insult to us. That person is evil. That day represents a very dark day in history for us. It is a day we entered into more slavery in the zoo called Nigeria. Our suffering started that day.
Okay, that's a good one. And you're on point too. I acknowledge that because I can not see myself acknowledge to any fact that is not being given from this platform, because every other fact and information remains very, very unrecognized. Sir, once again, I acknowledge that you are doing a good work. I want to say something. While you were saying something about our new, you said whether he failed or whether he succeed is to our own honor if he succeed or maybe he failed. But sir, let me let you know something today, that it's either we succeed, because if he's failing, the whole world will fail. The whole breathing object, anything called a living object, will fail.
I am talking about the responsibility of each and every one of us, that we must support our leader, Mazu Nnamdi Kanu, and make sure that everything that we need to do is done. You have a responsibility, I have a responsibility. If we don't do what we're supposed to do and we don't succeed, all of us will be blamed for that. And if we succeed, it will be to our own advantage as well. And that is what I'm talking about.
You see, you're on point. I understand every of your explanation, but I'm just trying to encourage our enemies too, who are thinking that you have derailed from your resoluteness. No, you are just helping them to understand this thing well. I don't even intend to make an interpretation for the enemy to understand what we're doing, because I want to let them know that I will come at the point of need, that I will make sure that every promise from this platform fulfill itself, because we are not here on our own strength, but Him who has created humanity on earth. Do you know that I went down here, was discussing with a young youth, and he was telling me, no, exactly, and he was telling me, see, I am a constant follower of Martin and the Calvary on his page, I said, okay, no, you have never identified with yourself with any family. He said, yes. I said, why? He said, because I got weak because he was saying that he's not meant to.
Mazi, I will advise that you make your point very succinct, and because there are so many people waiting, just go summarize it and then let others speak, please. Go ahead, please.
Okay, sir. In summary, this young youth made me to understand that he has no reason of friend because he has said it to the public that he doesn't need army. I said, do you want a proverb to be interpreted to you? Do you want him to tell you that the army makes no meaning? Is it not Nigerian army that the people are treated? We have our people who will defend. Every child will defend our land. This is one good thing I love about him. He's not afraid to tell you that we need ammunition, yes, but at the same time, we don't want you to understand that, yes, we'll have army. We need those nonsense men called army. Every child, every conceived child in every mother's womb is an army to this ground. So we don't need all those things. So if you want to join, you join. If you don't want to join, you check him out like you used to tell us. So I have so many things, but for this fact, I will allow others to come up. Thank you so much. I love you hearing me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And God bless you. This is for the Biafra representation. I will go to the line now. I have our North America rep, Mazi Bidobienu. Good evening from here, and thank you for holding. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, good afternoon from here, Mazu Mefor. This is your brother, Bidobienu, and thanks for having me this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Mazi, I just want to touch on two things that you have said this afternoon. But before I go on, I must appreciate your work and your tenacity and your role model. And I want to appreciate our leader and all their friends. Who are doing what they have to do. And all of a sudden, we don't know what happened. It became one of these same type of people organizations where people come and show up, people come and show their clothing, people come and show their accomplishments. Then their goal, their vision was completely lost as they begin to promote self-actualization and self-accomplishments in their forums and their conventions. I recall that in 2015 our leader was here and talked to them, not completely, the entire board will complete this. It was after that we realized that our World Igbo Congress has had factions. Okay. But let me not go into that history. But what is important is that this is a body organization that claims that they are apex leader, apex organization for the Igbos. Okay? And they have not done anything for the Igbos. Rather, they are individual things. And we don't know what they have done so far. Now, over the years, all those things they promised that they're going to make sure that they didn't happen, including the killing of our people, the marginalization of our people in different parts of the consumption called Nigeria, they have not done nothing. I recall this page about the apostasy in Abuja. 6 Igbo young men who were killed. And apparently,
they are apostates, yes.
They are supposed, the World Book Congress supposed to see to that date and bring the people, the culprits, the book. They bring in nothing. And years have gone by. World Book Congress, everywhere. Now we have the indigenous people of Biafra, headed our leader, Mazu whom God has given the vision, who understands that Igbos alone cannot be destroyed. All our brothers, including the so-called Nigeria, cannot do this alone. We need to work collectively to be able to pull ourselves out of this mess. All this year, education has been going on, teaching has been going on to pull ourselves together. A few days ago, our leader came after his broadcast. He announced numbers that people who may have questions may call, people who are interested in assisting. He announced those numbers. The numbers were posted out there, and here we have this man again coming out to call on their so-called Igbo people. Then I begin to think about that slogan, Igbo people.
When everybody is awake and moved on, you are still
divided, because what that Igbo people implies is that there are some Igbo who are not people. And then if somebody from Anyama says they are not Igbo, you get upset, right? They come and say Igbo people. I don't know.
Yeah, that it has it's pregnant with a lot of meanings.
I don't know what it means to them.
So there are fake Igbos and there are real Igbos, isn't it?
Not just that, this man, whom our leader took to high regards in Atlanta just a year ago, thought that they have understood what is going on and want to support if you cannot do anything just. For the meantime, we have done so many things for years. We haven't done nothing. You can't have great support and then turn around. You want to begin to raise them. Calling on their vigilantes. Oh, everybody come out. Look at them. I don't know who they control because nobody knows these people. These people are not relevant. You have not called out one day. You have not called for demonstration against what is going on our people. You have not. You have not come out to demonstrate against all this stuff. By the way, we now live in a contraption that nobody knows the president, rather the presidency. These people cannot call for all these their groups to come and demonstrate. They have the guts to be common and making video and calling out names of people to contact and calling a Zoom meeting and the presence of people.
Maybe after our enemies must have devoured us.
Okay, a hallowed day for Biafrans. I mean, and he will not say he does not understand that that day is very significant.
Anyway, we must remain focused. We must remain focused and continue to do what we are doing.
That sometimes it's not even important to be discussing these individuals because every reasonable human being will now already know that these people are not relevant, including the so-called the other associates. Now he's calling for a Zoom meeting, another distraction. A day that we remember heroes and heroes who have fought and made their lives for us. You want to desecrate that day. It's so appalling. It's so beautiful to watch that video.
What is happening now? That even as we speak, there are some people who are now coming together. They are raising funds. They are calling people to contribute money. That what Nnamdi Kanu is saying is correct. They want to raise money and support Nnamdi. That these are scammers. And somebody just reminded me of that. There are people who are on Facebook as we speak. These are the people that were castigating IPOB before. But now, they have now seen an opportunity to make money. And they are calling themselves together and extending invitation to people, telling them to contribute money, that we must have to defend ourselves, we must have to defend our fatherland. What Mazu Nnamdi is saying is correct and we must support him. Anybody that wants to all these people with crooked minds, they will always call IPOB, they will always call Mazu Nnamdi. Our people must be at alert. Do not be deceived. If we commission anybody or group of people to raise funds for us, it will be announced on Radio Biafra for avoidance of doubt. But let no one use IPOB or Mazu Nnamdi to beef up their own social standing and in the process scam people and take money from them.
It's not going to happen. Biafrans and every lover of freedom all over the world, there is an inquiry line. It's about 4 lines that were announced by our leader. Do not be deceived by these people. And that's exactly what I'm trying to, connect. Because some of these people, even as you are doing this broadcast, you will see a lot of them in their little, groups talking about freedom for Biafra. They are all looking for personal way to get money from people who may not understand. And we are making this general call. Whatever you don't hear on Radio Biafra is not the way to go. It's not the way to go. There are inquiry lines. If you want to support the struggle, go seek out these inquiry lines. It's posted on our website. You can make calls so that you can be directed appropriately.
Yeah, but the United States, I mean, why are you IPOB family United States not advertising that website? Because if it is
that's where I'm going. Hold on, my brother. What I'm saying, I don't want my thought to go up. Remember that when this military, when I shoot out our leaders' school, the same thing happened. There are so many of them here that open up GoFundMe and asking people to donate money. They are showing all these gory pictures of our brothers who were put in the mud waters and everything. You are right. And that brings to question what does this coordinator do? They are hiding. And I don't know how they caught me. I recall the time that coordinators come here and make an announcement and give their number so that people can find them. These people say they are coordinating. They cannot spare once a month and come to the radio to direct people how to join, how to make payments, how to do what they need to, how to make the contact. And this is part of it.
Of course.
People come in and they say they are coordinators and they go inside either. Now we are fighting. They don't come here. And when you tell them, they develop attitude. They are doing their job. And they are coming and calling on people. If you want to join this family, this is where you need to do. This is where you need to go. We will have all of these loopholes. We now have a family where most of our families are on the Facebook. When you go to all these individuals, you see them following and they're commenting, making calls. And these guys have devised the trick that they start their program when the prime program is on Radio Biafra. I'm getting questions about people signing petition now. And my answer to them is the petition, did our leader tell you to sign petition? It was either announced on Radio Biafra.
There is a petition. There is a petition I saw online, and that is specific to United Kingdom here. I signed that petition. It's just about, there is something, I mean, they must be doing it in different countries. If people can sign, if you can get up to 1,000 signatories or something like that, or 100,000 as the case may be, a particular case will be discussed in the Houses of Parliament. So, and there was a brother that started that petition and is actually gathering momentum.